Hello, all. Welcome to SIS Live, Facebook Live. And you might know our organization name, Sunshine Inspires Strength. In short, we say SIS, SIS, and there is a meaning for that. We talk about sisterhood. So our goal always like we lift each other up, not to keep you down. So we started first with that divorce. We did divorce series 1 and 2, and there was talk about divorce or no divorce and life after divorce. The last series we had, today is the second part on domestic violence. In short, we say DV. Unfortunately, it was not recorded, and for technical reason, I couldn't do it, and it was not recorded. I'm sorry for that. So I can just go in short, like what we discussed about in our first part, and today is our second part we are doing on domestic violence. And today's topic, the second part and last part, we can say, because we can continue with the domestic violence, because after domestic violence, what you can do, if you can call the police for domestic violence, or what happened next. So first, today's topic is that domestic violence and the barriers we have in your Bangladeshi community, because I know so many Bangladeshi girls I talk, and I can see what barriers they have, why they cannot leave domestic violence right away, what is stopping them, and the silence about domestic violence, like you cannot talk about that, and you are just suffering from that. There is a trauma from domestic violence, and especially kids are affected. Sometimes we stay with that abuser. We think for kids, sake of kids, I'm staying with the abuser, but that's not the case, right? I think the psychologists, psychiatrists, they can talk about that one. I'm not the expert. I'm just telling you from my experience. So today, this event we are talking, it is kind of 40 minutes because Zoom doesn't give more than 40 minutes. And today I'm Sadia Gulshan, founder and director of SIS, and with me, our longtime member, Sheikh Akhtari Ahmed. And
Hello,
yeah,
everyone.
thank you.
Thank you, Sadia.
Hi. Assalamualaikum. Yeah, so she is not expert either, but we watch surrounding us and we speak up. So one thing I can tell you about that, when I asked about divorce and that time, I got a lot of participants and the question answers. And this time I didn't get that many. So last part, the first part, I ask and I talk about what question I ask. And today we don't have that much time. If we have time, I can go through the questions I ask, and I ask them to um, uh, send it anonymously, so your name won't be mentioned, but not too many, and we can go for that one. Maybe not too many people are comfortable. It could be so many reasons, because your ex could be in the community, you don't want to put him in place, that place, or it's that old wound you don't want to dig into. So I think most of the cases it is looking like this. So anyway, me and Shikha can start with the DV and domestic violence. And Shika, yesterday we talked about something, and that was like interesting, because sometimes there is a talk, you made me do it, right? Do you know anything about that? That you provoke the abuser that hit me, right? So that time the victim got blamed, right? Because if victim keep quiet, there will be no abuse, right? The abuser keep dominating you, controlling you, and you don't say anything. You just keep quiet because you have nowhere to go, you have nowhere to get help. So that's why you keep quiet, right? So we can start with our barriers, or we can start with that domestic violence, why we keep quiet. What do you think?
May I may I start talking
Yeah,
about domestic violence?
yeah.
So, since you have mentioned about provoking, before even provoking, maybe knowingly or unknowingly, we get annoyed.
Mm,
Like if I say like how this violence starts,
mm-hmm,
it doesn't start like from the very beginning. It starts from maybe from a very small issue. And when somebody is very extremely tired, maybe somebody is extremely anxious
mm,
about their family earning or anything, or background family, extended family. So in that case, maybe he's not or she is not willing to talk even.
mm-hmm,
So that silence, the other person cannot understand properly
mm,
the why he is silent, why she is silent. That that's how the anger or the annoying like agitated mood changes. So that's how both party becomes really in a in an agitated mood,
mm,
not even like to talk
mm-hmm,
normally. So even a small thing that is not maybe not even a provoking
mm,
talk.
mm,
Like for example, if I'm putting an ice cream box
mm,
on top of the table for a long time, the other party will get angry. Like,
mm,
why did you put the ice cream
mm,
box here?
mm.
But that's not a a really provoking something. So because he was angry, he was in a
Speak
different
on
mood.
every single
So
little
even
thing, right? Yes, that's
yeah,
the way.
small thing will
Yeah,
trigger him.
yeah. I know some people say because it is going public, this Facebook Live, and there could be the audience from the male group, right? Since this is a women organization, we will focusing on how women got victim, right, with the abuser. So that one we will put it in the focus, right? So most of the time, yes, the domestic violence, the more is about, our country. If I'm talking about our country, it's physical violence, right? That because men are stronger, right? And that's the reason, because of their biological figure, they can hit. They could be the family background, or maybe not, right? I could be wrong, right? So it's not necessary that, oh, dad used to hit mom, that's why the son became abuser, right? Possible there could be change, right? But I didn't do the research can tell that if this is the another reason, there is a domestic violence, right? And domestic violence is not always about the physically. It could be emotionally, financially. Can you give me some example that because for me, first year over here,
Like
I always think about it is always domestic violence means physical, but that could be, you know, abuse could be mental and emotional and what do you call it, financial.
of course, like emotional violence means, for example, in our country, we see most of the time the domestic violence is triggered from the
Mm-hmm.
since it's a male dominating. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really saying it's 100% all the time correct. Lots of female
Yeah.
are like arrogant or angry, but in most cases female are depending on the husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Like women are depending on the husbands, their household, like they are taking the care of household works, despite if they go outside, or even they are fully solely housewife. So what happens when the husband comes back home and he says only a small word that you do nothing at home?
Mm-hmm.
This small word, even this triggers the balance. And then the female will, she cannot explain what she did the whole day
Mm-hmm.
because it's a lot of work, the household work. So from this, the tiredness, the angry, and why did you bring this fish right at this time?
Mm-hmm.
So this is not even financial, not even family matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe he brought something that is not necessary for their like daily food or daily like living. He brought something else,
Mm.
or he's spending some money elsewhere, so that triggers the women.
Mm.
So it's not always related to money, it's not always related to family. Any small thing can trigger.
Mm.
When the husband is saying you do nothing at home, this is really a very, like, to me it's intolerable. Like
So,
I could not
yeah.
tolerate, like how
So if the wife says,
and then
yeah,
financial,
go ahead.
and then the like financial means when they have money, but still they are struggling. The woman has to struggle financially. She doesn't have even a single penny. She has to depend on the husband, or she has to ask for money
Mm-hmm.
every time, or she has to explain, give like reasons, like why she is spending money for any small thing. That is also kind of,
Financial abuse,
it's a
right?
mental
Yes.
abuse,
Mentally.
psychological abuse.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course, like women need so many things more than men. It's not that men do not need everything, but for like cosmetics, for like hygiene, for like physical think about the dresses, like
Mm.
how many types of things we are wearing
Mm.
and the guy is wearing.
Mm.
Like, so we need that many times of number of dress or number of items
Mm.
than the men. But whenever somebody is not independent, especially the women, when they don't earn and they don't have the capability to spend much, they're depending on the husband. And
But
then when they're asking for the money,
yeah.
she has to explain. So that explanation, maybe she doesn't like. That explanation, the guy will not always accept. That explanation, maybe the guy will like poke her or say her, oh, you spend this much, oh,
Mm.
you are not doing that, or even depriving her. So that is also starting of the like some violence.
Yeah.
So these are,
You just mentioned if the girl is doing the job, right? Earning money, she became independent and there is no financial abuse. But what I heard, like, in Canada especially, that sometimes there is a joint account and your husband has the control. And husband will tell you, okay, you are earning. Your paycheck is going to joint account, right? But the husband will decide how much you can contribute, right? So this is the
yeah,
way they control the finance, right? And
yes,
most most importantly, I think it is about the freedom. It could be anything. You cannot go out. You cannot wear this dress, right? All those fights start
yeah,
with the freedom. You are restricted the freedom, right? And sometimes if you talk, then yes, then there is a abuse start. Physical, it could be don't talk. There's something called quiet, like treatment, silent treatment, right?
silent.
Yes, they don't talk. They don't talk to each other, right? So it could be so many ways, right? So only thing we can think about that when you restrict the women's freedom, that's the way you do the violent behavior, right? It could be
So
anything, and
maybe I can
yeah,
add, sorry,
yeah,
maybe I can add, besides the freedom of the finance,
mm,
like economic stability, if even if the girl, the woman has the economic stability, she's earning,
mm,
but she doesn't have the ability to spend her money the
yeah,
way she wants. That is one thing. Even second thing is freedom of speech. Like she cannot even discuss, she cannot even say something. The guy immediately keeps distance, or they don't want to hear those things, or I don't want to hear about
yeah,
even those things, or I don't want to talk about those things. So that creates the distance. And whenever they it's piled up, it's the quarrel of fighting starts. So normal. conversation, normal, friendly relationship, gradually it evaporates and it disappears, and there is a gap, and then fighting starts.
Yes.
So that's how, even even if the women are independent, they are earning, they have all the ability to spend, but she cannot talk, or that's the freedom of speech. She cannot
Freedom
share
of speech.
some ideas, all the ideas to be evolved. Mm. So that's another thing.
Yeah. Like, another thing, whenever, don't get me wrong, you know, because of my habit, observation power, whenever I go to the grocery or anywhere, right, anytime I heard Bangladeshi Bangla, right, the voice. And if there's a couple, rare, very rare, I see that husband is not dominating the wife. If I compare from my experience, I go to the mall where most of the Bangladeshi people go. The Bangladeshi guy, the husband, I can see always raise the voice. তুমি বেশি বুঝো, right? That always the matter, right? I can see that and I can feel it. This is, we accept it as normal behavior, but this is not a normal behavior if you have kids,
This is
if
not.
you're with the
Yes.
around people, if you're in the public, right? This is not normal. So we want to talk about we talk about that. Another thing I want to mention about the emotional abuse, right? How when you tell your wife you cannot go to your parents, you cannot visit your parents cannot visit because my mom doesn't like it, right? Something like that. Or make any small excuse that, oh, your brother did this to me, you cannot talk to your brother or your parents, right? So those are the emotional abuse. You are not hitting, you are not doing financial abuse, but that's the way you are restricted. Again, you are stopping her to enjoy the freedom. So marriage cannot be, is a cage that you are always controlling someone. So what happened years after year, you have that control. Sometimes you just like give up. You think this is normal. If I want to live with this person, I have to be the accept all those things, or you explode, right? And if you explode
Yeah.
after, doesn't matter, 20 years, 23 years, I heard some people after 5 years of marriage, they think it's enough is enough. They leave, right? So today I have Shama. I don't know if Shama wants to talk about, because last week Shama and me we talked, but unfortunately it was not recorded. It didn't go live, right? So we talk about how this abuse, how like my story, because that episode was about the personal stories of survivors from domestic violence. So I told my story, she told her story, but it didn't. I felt so bad after that 1 hour. I talk about that the stories, but no one had to hear it, right? So anyway, our today's part is not less important, because we will talk that domestic violence, what barriers we have, right? Why we don't talk about that, and what effect we have, right? Like on kids, right? So we can go one by one. So first, we just talk about what is domestic violence, right? It could be physical, mental, all those things, right? So now we can talk about that, why we don't talk about that. Why? Like today, look how many participants we have, how many, maybe they're lucky, they never experience that domestic violence, right? And uh, why we don't talk about that. And living in Canada, you can call 911 if someone is beating you. So sometimes, whenever the girls reach me and told me that, oh, there is her husband is beating her up, and then I was like, okay, why don't you call 911? And they were like, no, my family will think I'm bad, my in-laws will think I'm a bad person, that's why I'm not calling 911. 911, I'm not calling because my husband will be arrested and it will give him the criminal records, and he might lose the job, and I don't want he's the only um, bread earner, right? So something like this, that you are silently accept that domestic violence or physical abuse, right? So do you want to anything add to that, Shika?
Maybe Apu will talk, then we can add. I will definitely add something. Maybe Apu can you please only in a gist, can you revise what you have said? Then you give your idea about the domestic violence later, like what to do or how we can like handle it. Are you talking to me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shama.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Uh, so, like, I mean, last week I elaborately said so many things, but in a gist, if I would like to say, uh, whether it's Desh or Videsh, our mindset is more than 200, 300 years old. So, as a woman, as a daughter, as a mother, as a wife, you don't want to talk about that what you are going through because the society will judge. So the judgment or your children will go through the same judgment or your parents will be will become social outcast. These things actually make a person not talk about the domestic abuse at all.
I want to ask, like, since you mentioned that people will
Mhm.
judge, I am the victim.
Yes.
I know the answer,
Yeah, me too.
but I'm asking this question to you so people will can have an idea why victim is a bad person, because that happened to my personal life, right? And people think I was surviving through the domestic violence, and no one came up to us to help us, and they judge us, that I call the
Like my
police.
own mother suffered a lot, but when it's her daughter, was facing far worse, she is like, oh, my parents used to say, okay, just deal with it, just bear it, time will, life will go on, nothing. It's just so normal. And and I mean, she was a very highly educated in that in of her era, like finishing masters from Dhaka University, and she, after all these years, told me the same thing.
Mm.
So you can actually understand the patriarchal society's main like thought process.
Mm.
You suffer, but then you think about, oh, my mom said that, oh, my dad said that, oh, I love them so much. Oh, if I say that, the probably the marriage of my other siblings will be hampered. Uh, or this will bring shame to my thing. So
Like,
not only parents, if you have like siblings,
mm,
they also blame you for any of misfortune probably they have. Socially, mainly socially, they are gonna blame it on you, saying that you brought shame.
yeah,
And this shame part is deeply rooted in our culture, uh, religiously, obviously, plus those 1,000-year-old practices and seeing women as a sex commodity or just a commodity, mainly a commodity. So my mother faced the same. I believe I faced double or triple, but she that time asked for help from her dad. Her dad refused, saying this and that. You have children, you have siblings, all these things. And probably 25 or 30 years later, when I told my parents, they said the same thing. Your life is gone, gone. Think about your child. She's little. If she come out now, it's a shame on us, shame on your child that people are gonna talk, people are gonna make her life miserable, blah blah blah. So
How? Like when I was getting the divorce, of course, divorce comes with that. When you want to leave the domestic violence, you don't want to continue get hurt, and you go for divorce. And that time, people will point at you that you are divorcee, right? Parents, your kids won't get to get
yes,
married
that's
in a good family, right? And that time, someone told me that I should not divorce because my daughter, um, she won't get married to a good family.
yeah.
And when I told my daughter was like, if any my the partner is judging me because I'm getting divorced, right? My parents got divorced. I'm not going to marry. So talk your past about your parents, right? How they made up their mind that they have to stay together. They cannot leave because their parents say. And now your parents told you the same thing, stay, right? Even though it is abusive situation, but you left because nowadays people talk about divorce rate is higher, right? That's the reason, right? Because we are breaking the barriers, right? We're going like our parents suffer. Why we have to suffer? Someone has to break, right? That chain. That that's enough. So that's what you did, and that's why divorce rate is. People are wondering why it's like people. Women are getting modern. They're getting their wings, right? Like যেরকম কানাডায় আসলে সবার এক কথা যে পাখা গজাইছে এটা হচ্ছে normal saying to the women, right? Whoever protest, whoever call police, right? So this is the thing. So that I don't know. Like today, I don't want to finish talk about that. We didn't touch so many. That thing. I don't know how much time we have. Oh my God, nine, right? So 9:20 we have, or 9:10, 10 minutes.
I can add a little bit, 10 minutes more. I
Okay.
can add a little bit more,
Yeah.
like the tolerance, like
Yeah.
before even involving parents or calling 911,
Mm-hmm.
like calling the like cops, that will be the extreme case.
Mm-hmm.
But like we as the women, we don't have the strong personality to protest against any kind of like violence, even if it is a shouting, even if it is a physical abuse or mental abuse. Like we don't have that ability to talk about those
Mm.
things and point it out from the very beginning. We don't have that knowledge, we don't have that courage, and we don't have that strength to talk about. If even if we have the knowledge, আমরা যদিও জানি যে এটা আমার বলা উচিত কিন্তু বলতে পারছি না।
Because of our taboo.
তারপরেও let me give you example, like um, most of the like violence, domestic violence or any kind of abuse, these kind of things we came to know nowadays. We from the social media, it's more easy to know. Like even 10 years back or 20 years back, it was not really possible to know. uh, maybe uh, যারা একই দেশে আছে, একই একই পাড়ায় বড় হয়েছে বা একই গ্রামে বড় হয়েছে, তারা হয়তো শেয়ার করে, কিন্তু শহরে যারা আরবান urban environment, it's not really uh, common to share very family matters to each other. Even
Mm.
the neighbors, they don't know. Nowadays we can post something anonymously, we can
Mm-hmm.
get some ideas what to do. So at least মেয়েরা কিন্তু বলতে পারছে, এই
Yeah.
বলাটাও কিন্তু I would say out of 100 maybe 2% is talking,
Yeah.
and rest of 98% are not talking even. They consider it this is normal. So that is the lack of knowledge, যে এটা নর্মাল না। একটা মানুষ কেন আমাকে মেরে মেরে কথা বলবে,
Hmm.
বা একটু কিছুতেই কেন হাত উঠাবে বা ধাক্কা দিবে বা জোরে ধমক দিবে।
Hmm.
ধমক দেওয়াটাও তো মনটা একদম ছোট হয়ে যায়, আত্মা কেঁপে ওঠে।
Hmm.
এবং আস্তে 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 পার্সোনালিটিটা কিন্তু একদম ডুমড হয়ে যায়।
হুম
মানে মেন্টাল যে আমার কনফিডেন্স লেভেল লো লো ডাউন হয়ে যায়
হুম
ধমক দেয়াতে।
হুম
সেখানে ফিজিক্যাল অ্যাবিউজ কিছু করছে না, কিন্তু এই যে মেন্টাল অ্যাবিউজ
হ্যাঁ
কিংবা ছোট করে কথা বলা, তো তোমার ফ্যামিলি তো অমুক, তুমি তো গরিবের
ইয়া
বাচ্চা, বা তুমি তো অমুক, তোমার ভাই তো ওই করেছে,
হুম
তোমার ভাই তো ড্রাগ নিত, আমার ভাই ড্রাগ নিলে আমি কি করবো।
হুম
সো এই যে ছোট করে কথা বলাটা, আহ, সেটাও কিন্তু মানুষের কনফিডেন্স লেভেলকে অনেক কমিয়ে দেয়।
হুম
তো ওইটাই যদি ঠান্ডা মাথায় কাউকে বলা যায় যে ও- ওই কথা বলাটার স্পিচটা আমাদের নেই, এবং ওই কথা বলাটা কিভাবে বলবো, কি বলবো, কেমন করে বলবো, বিফোর গোয়িং টু দ্য এক্সট্রিম পুলিশ লেভেল 911 কল করার, এই যে মানুষের সাথে যে কথা বলা যায় বা কাউন্সেলিং করা যায় বা আরেকজন থার্ড পার্টি যে এসে তাকে বোঝাবে, ওই নলেজের অভাবটা আমার কাছে খুবই ডেঞ্জারাসলি মনে হয়। এবং বেশিরভাগ ক্ষেত্রে আমার কাছে ইদানিং ডিভোর্সের রেট বেড়ে গেছে, বিকজ যে আগে যেমন ফ্যামিলিরা ইনভলভড হতো,
হুম
এখন মেয়েরা সচেতন হতে ফ্যামিলি অত বেশি ইনভলভড হয় না।
হুম
এবং ফ্যামিলি ইনভলভ না হতে একটা হাজবেন্ড ওয়াইফ যা ইচ্ছা তাই তারাই এক্সট্রিম, ওকে ইটস নো মোর পসিবল টু কিপ
হ্যাঁ
লাইক ওকে ডিভোর্স দিবি, দ্যাট ইজ দ্য ইজিয়েস্ট সলিউশন
ওকে
আমার কাছে মনে হয়। এবং আমি খুবই অবাক হই যখন 10 বছর 20 বছর সংসার করে ডিভোর্স হওয়াটা তো আমার কাছে তাও নর্মাল মনে হয়, 10 বছর তো ডেটে। খুবই অবাক হই যখন দেখি 2 মাস বিয়ে হয়েছে, ডিভোর্স হলো।
হুম
তো 2 মাসের আগে why did you get even married
হুম
so, without knowing a person? একটা মানুষের বিয়ে হওয়ার পরে 2 মাস পরে কিভাবে ডিভোর্স হয়, বা 6 মাসের মাথায় ডিভোর্স হয়ে গেল।
and even
1.5 মাস
getting the
ছিল
kid
আমার একটা শর্ট ডিভোর্স।
হ্যাঁ আর তারপর আবার আরেকটা প্রবণতা আছে
শর্ট,
যে কিডস নিয়ে নেয় রাইট যে ওকে এই ইয়েটা
হ্যাঁ।
চেঞ্জ হবে তাই না সো দোজ আর দ্য
কিডস এর বিষয়ে আই
হুম
থিংক উই শুড ডু অ্যানাদার
another topic
এপিসোড, কারণ
okay because
কিডস এর
today
বিষয়ে
we
আমার
don't have time
এত কিছু অবজারভেশন আছে।
হ্যাঁ
লাইক আই হ্যাভ এ কোয়েশ্চেন টু দ্য গাইস,
হুম
যে কিডস গুলার কে কি তাদের মানে সিমেন্ট ছাড়া তারা আর কোনো কিছুই মনে করে না?
হুম
দে ডোন্ট হ্যাভ এনি লাইক হার্ট টু হার্ট বন্ডিং টু দ্য কিড?
হুম
হাউ কাম
অবশ্যই
এ
মনে
গাই
করে,
জাস্ট
মানে হাতিয়ার মনে করে, যেমন আমার তো এখনো চালা যাচ্ছে, ওটাকে হাতিয়ার
মানে
বানায়
একটা,
আমাকে
আমি
এটা।
এরকম বহু দেখেছি যে একটা মেয়ের বাচ্চা হয়েছে, বাচ্চা সহ ওকে শ্বশুর মানে বাবার বাড়িতে পাঠিয়ে দিল, দেন হি গট অ্যানাদার ম্যারেজ। সো ওর বাচ্চাটা, বউকে না হয় ডিভোর্স দিল, কিন্তু বাচ্চাটাকে তো আর ডিভোর্স দেওয়া যায় না,
হুম
বাচ্চাটা তো তার বাচ্চা। সো
বাচ্চাকে
গাইটার
দেখতেও
ওই
যায় না
এমনকি ও দাদা দাদিরও কি কোনো রেসপন্সিবিলিটি, কোনো ভালোবাসা, কোনো টান, কোনো কিছুই নাই।
হুম হুম
সো এই জিনিসগুলো আমার কাছে ওই ওই সমস্ত বাচ্চাগুলোকেও আমার খুবই আহ, খুবই কি বলবো, হতভাগ্য মনে হয়।
হতভাগ্য
যে ওদের মতন হতভাগ্য, ওদের বাবা যদি মরে যেত,
হুম
যে মৃত বাবার সন্তান, তাও কিন্তু তারা ভালো, তাদের বাবা বেঁচে আছে অথচ তাদের খোঁজ নেয়
হুম
না।
হুম হুম কারণ
এটা আমার কাছে
হ্যাঁ
খুবই অমানবিক মনে হয়। এবং সেই বাচ্চাগুলো যখন বড় হবে, আনফর্চুনেটলি তাদের মধ্যে যখন ছেলে বাচ্চা থাকবে, সেই বাচ্চাগুলো যখন বড় হবে, দে উইল নট নেভার লার্ন হাউ টু লাভ দেয়ার কিড। মানে ওরা তো ভালোবাসতে শেখেনি,
শেখে নেই
ওরা ভালোবাসতে
হ্যাঁ
দেখেনি।
হ্যাঁ এটাই আমার
তো
কথা
ওই জন্য ওরাও আর একটা, যে বিয়ে করবে এই ঘরে 4টা বাচ্চা হবে, ওই ঘরে 4টা বাচ্চা। আমার আপন পরিচিত মানুষের মধ্যে বহু মেয়েকে দেখি যে মেয়ে কোলে নিয়ে বাচ্চা নিয়ে চলে আসছে, ওর বাপ খোঁজ খবর রাখে না।
হুম
সো হাউ কাম?
হুম
এটা
আর
আমার কাছে
ইয়া
অবিশ্বাস্য মনে হয়।
হ্যাঁ
এবং এটা নিয়ে আমাদের আরো কথা বলা উচিত। এই গত কয়েকদিন আগেও একটা পোস্ট দেখেছি যে মহিলাটার বাচ্চা নিয়ে আমি এখন কই যাবো।
হুম
তার মানে উনি এখন টাকা পয়সা, আর মেয়েদেরও এই ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল স্টেবিলিটির অভাব থাকলে
হ্যাঁ
এবং নলেজের অভাব থাকলে, স্ট্রেংথের অভাব থাকলে, আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে মেয়েরাই দে আর রেসপন্সিবিলিটি ফর দ্যাট সিকোয়েন্স। কেন একটা ছেলে তাকে প্রথম থেকে মারবে? একটা হাজবেন্ড কিভাবে বিয়ের প্রথম থেকেই আমাকে মারে,
হুম
2 বছর ধরে আমাকে সবসময় মারে?
হুম
সো ওটা 10 বছর 20 বছর 30 বছর আগে আর একটা জেনারেশনে ওটা নর্মাল ছিল। এখন তো কত কিছু যুগ হয়েছে।
হ্যাঁ
স্পেশালি আমরা ক্যানাডাতে এসে আমরা এত বড় মানে এত ল অ্যান্ড অর্ডার দেখি, এত শিক্ষা দেখি, এত
হুম
কিছু দেখি। সোশ্যাল মিডিয়াতে কত কিছু দেখি। এগুলো নিয়ে কত সিনেমা হয়েছে, কত কিছু হয়েছে।
হুম
এখন তো আমাদের কথা বলার অনেক রকমের, অনেক অ্যানোনিমাসলি অনেক কিছু বলতে পারি।
হ্যাঁ তারপরে
আগে তো
যে
এত
ধরো
সোজা ছিল না।
হ্যাঁ যেরকম অনেকগুলা অনিশ্চয়তা থাকে যে ছাড়তে চায় না ডোমেস্টিক ভায়োলেন্স বিকজ চিন্তা করে যে আমার বাচ্চারা একা হয়ে যাবে, বাচ্চাদের কথা চিন্তা করে, ঠিক আছে? কিন্তু বাচ্চারা যে
হ্যাঁ,
এক্সপিরিয়েন্স করতেছে
এটা
এই যে
ছাড়া
ডোমেস্টিক ভায়োলেন্স এভরি ডে, রাইট? দ্যাট ইজ নট হেলদি, দ্যাট ইজ নট হেলদি, এটা কথা তাদেরকে
হ্যাঁ,
বোঝানোই যায় না।
ওই ট্রমাটা তার
হ্যাঁ, এটা বোঝানোই যায় না। কারণ আমি একটা মেয়ের সাথে কথা বলেছি, সে আমাকে বলেছে যে তার হাজব্যান্ড ওকে অ্যাবিউজ করছিল। তো সে বলেছে যে আমি নিতে পারিনি, আমি চাইনি আমার প্যারেন্টসের মতো যে আমার লাইফেও সেটা হোক। এই মেয়েটা ব্রেক দ্য ব্যারিয়ার্স, রাইট? সে কিন্তু কন্টিনিউ করেনি, মনে করে না যে ও আমার মা সহ্য করেছে আমাকেও সহ্য করতে হবে। ও বলেছে যে আব্বা আমি চাই না আমি যেরকম মেন্টাল ট্রমার ভিতর দিয়ে যাচ্ছি, বিকজ আই অলওয়েজ থিঙ্ক অ্যাবাউট দ্যাট that thing is erased from my life. That's the word she used, right? I wish that is erased from my life. My dad was beating my mom, right? That's only
হুম,
word can explain how kids feel when they're experiencing their mom is tortured by their dad. And you were calling that husband, oh, he's a good dad. If he's not, like, respecting the kid's mom, right? So this is the thing we have to speak about. Like, you always think, oh, this guy is very good, right? Like, and most of the time they're very, you know famous in our community, and people respect them, but they don't know what's going in this behind the door, right? So this is our, like, I don't want to, unmask anyone. My only thing is people speak up, right? Whoever think your husband might change, whoever abuser, I know abuser always is abuser. If he has mental, sickness, that he likes to beat up his wife, he won't change. So your choice. You want to, beat it up every, like, your whole life, or you want to cut the rope, not to, anymore, right? So those are the things. I
that
think we
has
are
to be,
almost done.
that has to be
Yeah, 44, 40 seconds.
addressed
I'm
from the
sorry.
very beginning.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Even if it is late,
Yeah.
it has to be addressed. কারণ from the very beginning কেউ যদি না করে থাকে,
Hmm.
তার মানে এখন যে করতে পারবেন না তা না, কিন্তু এখনই যখন আপনি টের পাবেন যে আপনার বলার সময় হয়েছে বা বলার শক্তি হচ্ছে, জাস্ট
Speak up.
স্পিক আপ অ্যান্ড টেক অ্যান অ্যাকশন। পুলিশ কল করাটা মেইন অ্যাকশন না।
Action না,
আপনি যখন কথা
আবার ফিরে
বলছেন,
আসে।
সত্যিকারের কথা
Okay, we
বলে
have to go.
শুধুমাত্র নাকি কান্না কাঁদার জন্য কিন্তু না,
Okay, I'm sorry.
তাই না?
Say good night. Thanks for joining. Thanks,
Okay, good
Shikha.
night.
Thanks, Shama. Have a good night. We have to close this
ওকে
session. Okay, bye bye.